Just to start out, I guess, what was attractive about coming here to the Chargers?
Well, it's, Joe Ortiz, Giro, Andy, being back in the Harbaugh system, that's who drafted me and brought me into the league and gave me my first opportunity. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer to come here.
Just being in the offensive meeting today, I was starting to install stuff. What can you tell us about sort of the vision for the offense? Greg is talking to Greg, and he said, obviously he's going to want to run the football.
Yeah.
Just what can you tell us about sort of the early stages here of the install?
Yeah, it's a lot of broad strokes from the Baltimore days, 18, 19 when I was there. They're relying upon their tight ends. Receivers got to get open, run. It's going to be a hell of a run game. But yeah, it's just cool seeing that playbook pop up there, familiar words, just kind of getting back to my roots.
You played with Gus in Baltimore and enjoyed too. Just what type of running back is he?
He is downhill, physical, right at you, which is, from what I'm understanding in the first round of meetings, that's the mantra of this place. We're going to be physical, we're going to come at you. When you see us pop up on the schedule, it's going to be a long Sunday.
Just with Greg, everywhere he's been as a play caller, he's been able to build really good rushing offenses. Been a part of some of those. He talked to us about like intention and being a big part of it, like calling the plays, but then also how you coach it, and the kind of emphasis that you put on it. From your experience, what has allowed him to build good running games, particularly when you were in Baltimore?
You got to be solid up front. You got to have smart guys all across the board: tight ends, offensive linemen, running backs. I think the most important part has just been wherever he's been. It's just been a collective effort. When I was in Baltimore, those were two of the closest teams that I've ever been on. Just guys fighting for one another. It's not that individualized stuff like you see in the NFL. It's really a family. It's a family. It's what I signed up for, playing for the guy next to me, giving it my all to make sure that he gets his job done. It's just a collective effort, and I think that's the beauty of it.
You mentioned that the early meeting here, that idea of being a physical team has come out. So is that obvious that is
100%?
That's a bit of a change for this franchise recently. But so what is it that makes it that clear? Is it just the way? The images you're seeing?
You can read it word for word off the PowerPoints. It's the Harbaugh mentality. Like I said, I played for John in Baltimore for 2 years, and it's the same sort of ideology. We want to out physical teams. We want teams to fear us. We want teams to end up giving up in the fourth quarter where we're just hitting our stride. I think that's where you get the most productive football. When you're just out physicaling people.
Is there a primary responsibility for tight ends in this system? And you talk about collective, fight for each other, but in terms of what's expected, is individuals, are you different in that room, or what is expected even from you guys collectively?
You have to be able to do everything. I know, obviously besides quarterback, I think tight end in this offense has the most on their plate with run game, protection stuff, pass game stuff. You got to be on your P's and Q's. And from what I know of Andy and Giro, there's not going to be specialized stuff. Like, you got to be able to do everything. You got to be a well-rounded tight end in this offense.
How different was that in other places that you've been?
Very different. Like I said, I think this is year 7 for me, team 5. Like I said, kind of hit my stride in Baltimore. They drafted me for a reason. Big, physical, fast. Then I kind of got away from that in Atlanta. Cincinnati kind of brought me back to that AFC North physicality. Last year. Just happy to be here back in a system that I really understand.
Hey, Jim is kind of described by everyone as kind of this endearing, kind of crazy figure as a coach. Do you get the sense of that, even just being around him as brief as it's been?
He's just very positive. And a lot of coaches make this about themselves and their egos get in the way. But with him, he wants to win, and he wants guys to get better. He wants guys to get healthy. He wants guys to have success. He's just, even in meetings, I've met him over the phone, but just seeing him in person, how eccentric he is in meetings. He's getting up, he's showing guys how to do stuff. It just makes it fun because, I think we all know this can be a really, really long season. If you don't have the right people in place, it can kind of drag along. But if you have a guy like that in the building who's just enthusiastic about football and wants to win, that's infectious.
You haven't been on the field with him coaching yet, obviously, but how similar are John and Jim?
Very similar. I think their philosophy they get from their father, it's just they want to win and they want to be sound, all across the board. Fundamentals, and like I said, it's going to be physical and it's going to be a lot of fun.
And you talked about last season, you obviously had a tough head injury last year. How have you recovered from that? Did it, from family, for you, was it a concern you at all wasn't something you're going to be thinking about?
Not at all. Yeah, last year, like I said, I had the concussion, for a week after. It was a little touch and go stuff, but, I went to the Mayo Clinic down in Jacksonville, got a second opinion, got, full clear bill of health. The only reason why I really sat out as long as I did was just, from the front office. There was really no point. We were 2-15 or 2-13 at the time, so there was really no point in rushing back.
And talk about Jim kind of growing up and showing you guys stuff. Is there any of that stuff you could share, maybe that he did today that stood out or that was funny? That's not.
Yeah, I mean, just getting up there and showing us how routes are run. It's funny seeing your head coach do that. Wherever you're at. Just getting up there, showing hand placement stuff and things like that. It's just cool. Because meetings can get really boring when you're just sitting there flipping through PowerPoint. So when you have a coach that gets up there and kind of is hands-on, it makes football a lot more enjoyable.
For a former quarterback to show you guys how to run routes, how did he do doing that?
Yeah, it looked good, man. He was loose. He's fluid up there, putting his foot in the ground, turning back, and being friendly. So he's got it all covered.
Obviously still early as far as figuring out exactly what the scheme is going to be, but just early days, how much overlap is there between what Greg was doing in Baltimore and what he's sort of building now? He told us that it's going to be the best version he's ever done, but
yeah,
how much overlap?
There's some similarities just with words and things like that, and obviously, how he wants to run the ball and what he thinks is going to be successful. I'm sure it's evolved since, 2018, 2019, and he's put his different spins on it. Obviously the passing game is probably a little bit more advanced. But, I know that run game to my core, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Why do you think it works? Since you've been to different places and you've had success and you've experienced very little success, but what is it about this that you think works in the NFL?
I mean, I think everybody in this league, they're big, strong, fast, athletic. But when you have a system like this where you get guys to buy in and collectively fight for one another and you turn it into a street fight, which is what we did in Baltimore, it's just you're going to out-tough people because not everybody wants to do that for 60 minutes. It's a tough game. It's tough doing that 20 weeks for 60 minutes. And I think these coaches with, playing for John and playing for Jim, they expect to wear teams out at the end. And if you're not going to do it, they're going to find somebody to do it.
Hayden, so having an athletic quarterback like Justin, how does that help the run game as well as the passing game?
He's deadly. I mean, you give him a run game, and he's going to be able to throw it all over the place. I think that's the one thing, outside looking in, that's the one thing he hasn't had is just a consistent run game. I mean, man, we all see what he can do through the air. I mean, you pair up a run game with that, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for this place.
Hey, do you know Will Dissly at all, and what do you think your relationship will be like with him, with you guys being the two new guys in the room?
Yeah, I mean, Will and I came out the same year. We were the same draft class. He had a lot of success. He got to stay in Seattle for a few years, and I bounced around a little bit trying to find a home. It'll be fun being in the same room with him. I think we have similar qualities. He does some things well that I can pick and choose from to help with my game, and hopefully I can help him with route running stuff as well. So I think we'll pair pretty good together.
You mentioned the qualities. How would you kind of describe your play style as a tight end?
Me personally?
Yeah, you personally.
Fast and physical. I remember my first year with these guys back in Baltimore. They just told me I was thinking a little bit too much, and when I think, I play slow. So my rookie year after that, I just promised myself, whatever I do, it's going to be 1,000 miles an hour. So I think, I had success in Cincinnati, I had success in Baltimore with those guys, just understanding what I'm doing, cutting it loose, playing fast and physical. Because again, I know that I can do it for 60 minutes, but not everybody can do that. So I'll take it there.
Yeah, you seem almost super excited every time you talk about the physicality and hitting people. Do you feel like you have an opportunity here for, a renaissance, kind of year or maybe rejuvenating kind of season for you because you're in a place where you feel comfortable?
Certainly. This is my brand of football. It's what I play. I played in the SEC. I played for Muschamp. I played for that Saban blueprint. They drafted me in Baltimore because of that blueprint and who I am, my makeup. I did it in Cincinnati, when they gave me the opportunity and they kind of laid out in front of me what was expected of me. I didn't get that in Carolina, but they know why they came and got me. I'm physical. I love playing like that because I know for 60 minutes I can do it. And the person across from me, I don't know. We'll find out.
In your experience, what percentage of the NFL can do it?
There's a few dogs out there. There's guys that you circle that it's going to be a street fight for 60 minutes, but there's also teams where if I can get after them, they'll end up folding and quitting. But I just know, I'm 30 years old. I've been playing sports since I was, I don't know how long. and I've done it every year. I just know who I am to my core, and if I can bring that guy out like I did in Cincinnati, there's not many guys that can match that for 60 minutes.
Your tattoo says dog eat dog. What is that? Essentially, how would you describe it? What is that?
It's just the league, man. You know, it's a street fight. It's mano a mano. Is this guy's lining up in front of me and he thinks he's better than me? It's like, you know, we're gonna see where the cards fall. I like my odds.
Hayden, so in the past happy league, why does running the football still matter to the success of a football team?
You just got to give guys different looks. You know, if you line up in certain sets and they know what they're getting, I mean, the defense is just going to tee off on you. But if you're multidimensional and you're able to do stuff that confuses them, you get the backers and secondary to suck up, pause. They can. It creates a problem for the defense. You know, when you got the football flying over your head when you're thinking run, it's just this offense is going to be fun. It's quick hitting. It's right at you. It's what I love.
How did you do on the questionnaire and all the stuff they were asking you with Ben Herbert about stuff that you know, I guess, are the baseline tests? Like, how would you describe that?
Yeah, it was fun. You know, I haven't had that in the NFL yet. You know, a staff like that that's really hands-on and really wants to fix you and, you know, see your deficiencies and help you kind of overcome those, which I think is great, you know, because, you know, playing football, you get beat up. So, you know, everyone thinks, oh, squat, bench, clean, throw stuff over my head. And it's like they're really breaking it down to making sure, like, the soft tissue stuff doesn't happen, guys are healthy, and the guys can play this brand of football.